Hi, this is Catherine, and welcome back to Taking Tea with Catherine. Today's tea, which I didn't actually make, is lilac bouquet tea from Simpson and Vale, which is good, but not great. And it's the kind of tea that I'm expected to like because I tend to like flowery teas, and I don't hate it. Definitely don't hate it, but I don't love it. So I'll probably make it again, but I'm not necessarily running to do so. And I am pairing that with my reads today, although I would probably pair different teas with each individual book. But I have two books that I finished recently that were good and that I thought were totally up my alley, and I read them. I pretty much enjoyed them, but I just didn't think I enjoyed them as much as I thought I would. So they were 3 stars. One, I think I rated a 3.5 star when I reviewed it, but I think more 3 star. Again, not bad. I'm not saying I wouldn't read anything by these authors again. In fact, one of these is a book I read from another author. So I'll just explain my reasons why I feel like that, which with each of these books. And the first one is, I showed both of these books to you in my TBRs. This is Jenny Colgan's The Bookshop on the Shore. And this is not a sequel, but it's a continuation of a story that I'd read. I think it has a different name in the UK. It's something about happily ever afters, but it was called The Bookshop on the Corner, which actually didn't make a lot of sense because it wasn't about a bookshop that was opened on a corner, like the corner bookshop in the Upper East Side, which is gorgeous. But it's basically like a book van / book bus that the main character, Nina, starts up and, goes through all the backs and forths of, getting out of the city she lived in, which was Birmingham, England, and moving up to the Highlands. I think it was the Highlands, right? Where Loch Ness is, that's considered the Highlands. I should know these things. And starts this business, has her ups and downs, and in the ending, of course, it's a nice ending, etc. So this book continues from there. And by the way, both these books have Ninas in it. Nina. Am I saying Nina a lot? Yes, I am. But anyway, okay, so this continues with the story of Zoe, who is a single mother in London this time. Each book, actually these are only 2 books I've read of this author. Again, she's a good author and she loves books. But each book, they start out with someone who's got a less than satisfying life in a city and then end up moving on up to the north and having their own struggles, but usually a happy ending, etc. But so, as someone who loves London, it's always hard to read about someone who just hates their situation in London and, etc. But of course, anywhere you go, if you have a bad situation, you have a bad situation. She's a single mother who is under financial straits. Her son is a lovely 4-year-old who doesn't speak. And so she's trying to figure out what she needs to do in that situation. Financially, again, totally desperate. Living in an apartment that she can no longer afford. That's not a great apartment anyway, or flat. The father of the son is not a terrible person, but he's not a great person either. He wants to be a DJ, and he's all traveling all over the place, taking selfies everywhere, and not really contributing much to her or Zoe or her son's well-being. Okay, so her, I guess, ex-boyfriend at this point, the father's sister was in the first book as well, so she's acquainted with Nina up in Scotland. So she connects Zoe with Nina, who is now, spoiler alert from the first book, pregnant and married and pregnant. And her situation obviously is less desperate than Zoe's, but she has this book van / bus that she won't be able to be running on her own for a bit, so she needs some assistance. Plus, everybody seems to hear at the same time of a big house, like a mansion kind of house, one of these big, sprawling, the Laird's house situation, where there's a single father, a mysterious disappearance of a mother, and 3 children who desperately need a new nanny. They've been through 6 other nannies and not so good. And there's only a housekeeper who works there who's elderly and doesn't really have much, I guess, child rearing abilities or just doesn't want to. That's fine. But the point is that Zoe's job was working at a daycare at some point. So for her, she's pretty good at that, and she loves books. So yes, all this sounds great, right? So she moves up to Scotland, and obviously, the children are difficult to deal with. Of course, she's going to be the one to get them in line, and of course, there's going to be something of romance. Although it's kind of sudden. Like you don't expect it. Like you expect it, but you don't see it coming, and then suddenly it happens, and you don't understand where it came from. Point being that, and also, so the situation is an interesting one, and of course the descriptions of the area of Scotland, the Loch. I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm only half Scottish, not even half probably, but the area sounds so beautiful. Like as a travelogue, it's perfect. And it's a good story, but like I said, some of the relationships are unexpected. And the main character from the previous book, Nina, yes, I know she's pregnant, she's dealing with a lot of difficulties, but she's a lot not as nice suddenly. Like they made her a lot less of a likable character. So I didn't care for that too much. Plus there was a problem with some typos and inconsistencies in the writing that I think the publishers, or the editors I should say, didn't catch, which is annoying to me. So again, a good story, very good, like beach read, very autumnal, so perfect for this time of year. Ends up happy, does deal with certain issues that you didn't expect, like mental disorders, self-harm. So if you're a little bit worried about reading about such things, then maybe it's not for you, I don't know. But I think they handle it pretty well. I don't know. There was a bit about books. Obviously, there's a bit about book selling in the book, but I didn't feel as much as I thought I was going to feel about that. So good, but about 3 stars. Maybe 3.5, but 3 stars. Okay, and then I read The Bookish Life of Nina Hill by Abby Waxman. I keep forgetting people's names lately. What's wrong with me? And I just finished this one, and again, good read, not too long, so it doesn't really lag. It's about Nina Hill, who is described as basically an introvert who loves her alone time, who loves her happy little life at home with her books and her cat, and she works at a bookshop, so she is bookish, yes. And then, suddenly she becomes aware because her mother had her and never told her who her father was. So suddenly she finds out that she had a father, but that he died. And suddenly she has all these relatives that she didn't know about. So that's kind of cool. But now she's got to come out of her shell and she's got to spend more time with people, gasp. And she suddenly finds love, as it were, a male interest, and does she have time for that in her life? And that's kind of the theme of the story, I guess. Yes, very good. And any book that takes place in a bookshop for in a lot of parts of it is good. Since I'm going to California soon, the fact that it takes place in Los Angeles, it was maybe not instructive, but kind of good to get me in the mood, I guess. I like the fact that she doesn't really drive that much. Like, she can drive, unlike me, but the fact that she lives in California and doesn't really drive a lot is kind of interesting to me. She walks a lot, and she does read. There's things that I didn't get. Like, I kind of understood that she was very, very organized. Like, her hero is Monica Geller from Friends. I don't relate to that very much. I have had planners, but the planner I bought for this year, I abandoned by February. It's so sad. She's like super organized, and I like that in the sense that, you could tell that I need to do a little work on my book organizing. And they describe her apartment with its books in one scene that is very satisfying. The dialogue kind of reminds me of Gilmore Girls, which I did enjoy as a show. And usually every autumn I sort of want to watch it again because it's very autumnal, but I felt like it's not realistic, It's like everybody's clever and has quips. I didn't get that, especially even if you read a lot. I don't understand. Actually, if you read a lot, I don't understand how you have so many quips because you're more in your head and on paper, usually. I don't know. So I didn't hate it, but it wasn't realistic in the sense that she's supposed to be this big solitary person, but she does all these events at the bookshop, which okay. She also goes to book club once a week. She regularly goes to trivia, and she easily goes to weddings. She easily does social things. Um, she only has one night a week scheduled for reading, which she even that is kind of cavalier about, it seems. And that doesn't make sense to me because she's such a big reader. They talk about her being such a big reader. I don't know. It wasn't bad. It was still a good story. It had its fun bits. It resolved itself pretty well and conveniently in bits. But it makes me wonder, what exactly does bookish mean? Does bookish, is it a lifestyle or is it just an interest? I don't know. I didn't, like I said, I didn't hate it, and there were parts of it that were very good as a book lover, but I don't know. Something's missing. Something made it less than 4 stars for me. And that's okay. I wouldn't not read it again, you know what I mean? I did think it weird when she was describing all the family that she met, that they all seem to have similar appearance and mannerisms to her, and that's not even realistic to me. I mean, even though you hit genetics, yes, but it just seems a little freakish. But again, I'm not saying don't read these books. I just said they didn't blow me away the way I thought they would. But I'm not upset. I'm not like, oh my goodness, what my life is over. These books were terrible. But I just thought, I guess it's okay to enjoy books. But honestly, if they're under 3 stars, unless I have to read them for a reason, like if I'm in a book club, or if I had to review a book, for real, I would read a book that was under 3 stars. But if it's not, I usually just DNF it. I just finish. I just don't continue. So I don't know what that tells you about me giving us 3 stars. Anyway, if you have any comments about these books, if you like them, if you didn't like them, if you share or don't share my opinion, please comment down below. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to watch my other videos if you like them. My bookish videos, the bookish videos of Catherine Tom. So this has been, oh, I don't have a teacup today. So sad. Yeah. This has been Taking Tea with Catherine, or Not Taking Tea with Catherine, and I hope you have a lovely day and happy reading. Goodbye.